Okay. So.
Thesis statement.
Yes, so we're doing this first, and then we'll do the thesis statement draft. Okay?
This is about Drake.
This is about Drake.
Hey, this is like actually.
Students will be able to learn about Drake today. That's the objective of the lesson.
So
Can we
what's
listen
the
to it?
I've never listened to signals.
Like, are we actually gonna listen?
No, guys. Come on. Come
Can't
on.
we though?
You can when you're doing your thesis statements, okay? So, if anyone doesn't know Drake, he has a famous song called Started from the Bottom, Now We're Here. Or it's not called that, but it's a song in it, okay? So, we're going to go over the introduction paragraph and thesis statement. First of all, Tony, read it. Okay, let's close the computer completely because we don't need it yet. I want to make sure you're focused. Okay?
Should they all have that up on the screen?
Not necessarily. If you want to look up here, that's fine. Otherwise, you're going to need that doc open at some point.
I can't even find it.
Okay? So, on today's
It's in
module.
modules, right?
Did you go to today on
Does
Thursday?
it say documents?
Yes, there's a link.
Oh, yeah, then you
Just
just
press
make
the
a
link.
copy.
Yeah. Good job, guys. Proud of you. Okay, we got there. We're good. Okay? So, first of all, what's a thesis statement? What do we know is a thesis statement? We talked about it yesterday. What do we got? Malachi.
A thesis statement is a sentence or more of what you're going to be talking about in your essay.
Exactly what you're going to be talking about in your essay. Okay? It's also called the roadmap for your paper. All right, Johnny, let's make sure we don't have a headphone in right now. Both of them. Both of them. We go with that? Okay. All right, let's read. Follow along with me, okay? So on your paper or here. The introduction is an essential part of an essay. It should not only tell your audience about what they will be reading, but it should also grab their attention and lure them into reading it. Here are some tips and tricks to starting your essay. Okay, remember, the best way I explain this, think about it this way, okay? If I am reading 30 essays, what is the best way you're going to grab my attention and make yours stand out? Okay? The intro paragraph, that's the job of it. It's to kind of hook your reader and get them interested. That's why it can often be a struggle if you start a book that isn't interesting from the beginning. Have you guys ever done that? You start a book and you get like 6 pages and you're like, I can't do this. Been there. Belle's read like 1,000 books and she's like, yes. Okay, been there. Tony, your hands up.
So I was just going to say basically what you said before.
Okay. All right, attention getters. Remember, actually, you know what I'm going to do? Let's do this. Remember yesterday when we went over intro paragraphs? There's 3 main components. What are they? What are the 3 main components to an intro paragraph? Caleb Funk. Okay, look at the poster. Okay.
Background info.
Okay, so this is your introductory paragraph, correct? You have your attention getter or your hook, your background info, and your thesis statement. If you're like, I have no clue what you're talking about, it's because you did not listen to the lesson yesterday. Okay, so that means you got to go back and look at the screencast. So, the best way to grab the reader's information right here in the hook, here are some ideas. Okay, who wants to read that first one for me? Tony?
Quote from a famous person.
Okay. No, it's good. So one idea could be quote from a famous person. Does it have to be a famous person? Okay, you could find a random quote from a philosopher. You could find a quote from a president about culture or conflict or war. That might be a good intro, okay? That's a good way to grab your reader's attention. So here's an example from Julius Caesar. Okay, so Julius Caesar once said, Veni, vidi, vici, which translates to, I came, I saw, I conquered. This is exactly what Junior does at his new school in the Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. Okay? Caleb, stay with us. Okay? So, you could grab your reader's information through a fun quote. Walt Disney has plenty, I promise. Alright? 2! Can I have someone read the second one? What's our second way? Jillian?
Startling statistic. Find statistics / fact that will surprise your audience when they listen. Wow. 1/3 of American university each year, according to This is why it's not surprising. This is why it's not surprising Jasper struggles to find a real killer this time in this victim.
Lagos. Okay, so startling statistic or fact. You could also do a definition of a word. Like remember in the sample, the word culture was defined. That's a startling statistic or a fact. You could do a definition, okay? All right, what's the next one? Come volunteer. Johnny.
Setting the scene. Put your reader in the shoes of a character or scene, hypothetical or real. Imagine being shackled in a cellar while someone builds up a cement wall around you, encasing you forever in a damp, dark world. Unfortunately for him, Fortunato finds himself in this exact situation.
Okay, what might be a really good example for you to paint for your reader of an experience you read about in this unit? Caleb.
The Japanese.
Okay, in the barracks of the internment camps, right? So you might be able to paint that picture for them. Good. All right, what's the next one? Elijah?
Simile or metaphor.
Good.
Compare your essay topic to something more tangible. America's debt is like an elephant.
Okay, so you could compare this clashing of culture to something that's more tangible for the reader, better connection, so it's not as like big and out there. Okay, what's the last one? Tros?
Thought-provoking question. Don't get this confused with any old rhetorical question. This should be thought-provoking, often leaving the reader with options to think about.
So the example is, when does friendly flirtation at the office turn into sexual harassment? Okay, real life questions that we're talking about. So, thought-provoking question, I think that's the one that like everybody goes to in high school. They're like, okay, I'm going to ask a question. If you're stuck with the attention getter, wait, don't do it right away, write your essay, then come back to that first sentence. Okay, you do not have to do it line by line. If you get stuck, skip it. Tony. I know, I realize there's one more. Okay, I'll just read the last one real quick. Quick hitters are fast statements. Big, bold, short statements that grab attention. Darwin was wrong. Okay? That one's kind of an illusion because we all know who Darwin is or Darwinism. Okay? So you could hit something like that where it's a big fact that everyone knows and kind of shock your audience. Okay? Does that make sense how you can grab the attention of the reader? Alright? That is not an all-inclusive list. Those are just ideas for you. Does any one of those stick out there? You're like, I'm going to use that one? Esther? Which one?
Oh, the last one.
Ooh, the quick hitter fast statements? Okay. Anyone else, Jillian?
Not one that's really on. Did you use an intro?
Yes, of course. Okay. So kind of like a story that connects to what you're going into. Okay. Tony?
The question seems interesting because it seems like there's a lot of different. It seems like it gives you more room to
Like lead into?
customize what you are able to do, what you're able to ask.
So that question is usually a rhetorical question that kind of draws the reader in. Okay. So you could ask about situations. So what do you think it would be like to be trapped in an internment camp? Or what do you, so you can kind of grab the reader in to make them think about what you want them to think about to get them more engaged in your story. That could go in several different routes though. Okay? Alright, how do we feel with attention getters? Feel like I can do this, I still have no clue where I'm going to go with my attention getter in my essay. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay. Okay. So for those of you who are either thumbs middle or thumbs down, is anyone willing to talk about what they feel like they might need more help on? Yeah, Elijah?
I don't understand.
Okay, so remember in our sample essay? Remember in our sample essay, Elijah, can you read the attention getter?
Culture can be defined as achievements of a collective group of people. But why is it important to discuss or even know about it?
Okay, so in this sample essay, the writer has defined culture and then asked the reader, okay, why is it important to know about this? So the writer has hooked you in to kind of grasp, okay, what is culture and why is it important? So these attention getters are different ways that you can start your essay in order to hook in the reader.
I thought you were saying that it'd be different types of essays.
I'm sorry, I didn't explain that correct. I didn't explain that right, okay? So these are just attention getters or hooks. That first sentence of your intro paragraph where you can grab the reader's attention, these are ideas for you. These are just to help you, okay? Does that help for those of you who put thumbs middle and thumbs down? Okay, I'll come back around too. All right. A closer look at the introduction paragraphs, okay? So we started from the bottom, and now we're here. We're now in the thesis statement, okay? A thesis statement tells your reader what to expect in the rest of the paper. This statement makes a big claim that others may be able to dispute. It is clear, specific, and arguable that sets up the rest of your claims, evidence, and everything else, okay? So your thesis statement should answer the question of the prompt. Now, what does the prompt ask you, Reagan? What is the prompt asking you in this essay? The one that you're writing.
Isn't it like
Just making sure you're paying attention.
necessary for us to understand one another's.
Okay, so the prompt is asking you, to what extent is it important and necessary to understand one another's culture? Alright? So some of you might say it's absolutely necessary. I was talking to Tony earlier, and he was like, well, in some instances, it might not be necessary, okay? Like if you're doing taxes for someone. It's kind of what he was talking about, right? You said accounting.
I just said that as a bland example.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's a good
bland
example. That's all I'm saying, okay? So, same thing. You're going to answer that question. Is it necessary? Is it extremely necessary? Do you not think it's necessary? And then why? What are the examples of your body paragraphs? Okay. So if we go back to our thesis statement, who can I pick on? Emma? Do you remember where the thesis statement started?
Therefore, it is both extremely important to discuss.
Yeah.
And know about one another's cultures so that we do not oppress certain groups of people, express prejudice, or take away the rights of a certain group of people just because we don't understand their culture.
Okay, so I'm going to go, Kaden. So the thesis statement has two parts, right? The first one is the answer to the prompt. So to what extent is it necessary or right to talk about one another's culture? Okay, is that answered in this thesis statement?
Is what answered again?
In that thesis statement Emma just read, does it answer the prompt, which says, to what extent is it important and necessary to understand one another's culture?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll reread it. Therefore, it is both extremely important to discuss and know about one another's cultures that we do not oppress certain groups of people, express prejudice, or take away the rights of a certain group of people just because we don't understand their culture.
Yeah.
So where does it answer it?
Saying we're talking about yeah, what is that? Yeah, I don't know what it says.
Do you not have it up on your computer?
I don't have that part up on my computer.
Okay, you can pull it up too. So it's easier for you to read. It's from yesterday.
Okay.
Okay? So the first part, eyes on the board. This is important. This is what we're doing today. Okay? Therefore, it is both extremely important to discuss and know about one another's cultures. Is that answering the prompt? Yes, because it's asking you to what extent is it important and necessary to understand one another's culture. Okay, so I've answered that. Now the second part of your thesis statement, Aiden, you're going to be next. The second part of the thesis statement details what evidence is going to prove that. Okay? So now that I've answered the prompt, I have to say, because why? Do I answer that in this prompt? Do I give you the why? What I'm going to back up my thesis statement with?
Yes.
What parts of this thesis statement do that?
What is the question?
Okay. I'm going to read it again. Okay? Thesis statement has two parts. The first part is the answer to the question. We've already established that's the answer to the question. The second part is what evidence backs up the answer to that question. Okay? So remember how, like, if I come up to you and I give you a fact, like the lion is the best animal in the animal kingdom, and you say, well, why, Miss N? And if I say, because I said so, is that really a good argument?
My dad
No.
uses that on me all the time.
Tell him, Miss N, it's a poor argument. Okay? So, Aiden, so if I say that, I would have to give evidence to back up my opinion, correct?
Yes.
So that's in your thesis statement. That needs to say what you will be arguing throughout your essay. Okay? So, what part of the thesis statement does that?
That would start with. So that we
Good.
not go on.
So that we do not oppress certain groups of people. So my first body paragraph is going to be discussing how we need to know about other people's cultures, that we do not oppress certain groups of people. My second body paragraph is this. Express prejudice. Okay, so we need to know about others' cultures so that we don't express prejudice. My third body paragraph is going to be here. Or take away the rights of a certain group of people just because we don't understand their culture. Okay? Do you see how I've laid a roadmap for my essay? I'm telling the reader, okay, I'm going to talk about this first, second first, and third first. Within each of those body paragraphs, you need to have evidence and explanation explaining how that evidence proves your claim. Okay? Johnny, what did I just say?
I don't know.
Okay, so close the computer. Pull your head off, please. Or pull your earphone out so I can see it. That's fine. Just pull your headphone out. Okay? So, thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down if I know what a thesis statement is, if I feel like I can do it. Thumbs down if I still need a little more help. Okay, cool! Alright, so...
that frog in your room?
It's like underneath the ribbons sometimes. Okay. So, your job, this is more resources, I just kind of went over it. Your assignment is here, okay? This is, again, your prompt. You've seen this before. Below, it says the thesis statement. Remember, it has two parts. The first, you claim the answer to your prompt. The second, the because, the specific reasons you'll be discussing in your essay. All right, Tony, focus. So now, I've given you an example from the sample essay. Your task is to write your own thesis statement below. Okay? So you're planning out your essay here. Some of you have already done this. So you need the answer to your prompt, the question, and then the reasons why. Malachi.
You need to include an essay map in the thesis.
You mean a graphic organizer? What do you mean by essay map?
I mean, like, the roadmap that you're talking about of what we're going to be talking about in the body paragraph.
That's what your thesis statement is.
Okay.
That's exactly what you got it down.
Okay.
Just take that term thesis statement, and that's what that is.
Okay.
You did good. Johnny.
So, this would be off of the prompt from yesterday, right?
Yes. So the prompt is here again in case you don't want to go back and forth.
Okay.
Okay. So the answer to the question, to what extent is it important and necessary for us to understand one another's culture? Remember, you must have two pieces of textual evidence from this unit. So either Dream Deferred by Langston Hughes, The India Partition, read When Mr. Pizzada Came to Dine, A Farewell to Manzanar, and At Dusk.
I thought it was just 3.
You only have to use 2, but 3 body paragraphs. So you could either use 2 examples for one, or a personal experience, or your outside research. Okay, like I was talking to Belle today, she wanted to do something on the separation of races, and so she's going to research South Africa and apartheid to include.
Can we do it on, like, the... never mind.
I'll come help you, okay?
No, I was going to say something and then it just kind of like...
Okay, I'll come around and make sure we got it. All right? So your job right now is to determine your thesis statement. All right? Before you can move on, I need to see your thesis statement. So you cannot start drafting until I see your thesis statement. Is that clear? Okay. So once you're done, go ahead and raise your hand. Jillian, what are you doing? Okay. All right, Elijah.
So we have to have 2. What do the stories have anything to do with what?
That's where you're pulling your evidence from.
Oh.
So remember in the sample essay, I included quotes. So like in my first paragraph, I'm arguing that it's very important to be aware of others' cultures because it's too easy to oppress certain groups if we don't know their background. And I pulled information from Dream Deferred. Does that make sense?
Yes. So we in our essay or our expository essay, we have to include.
Yes, that's your evidence.
And so our thesis is going to be revolving around racial.
Well, it depends. So what's your answer? Okay, is it important and necessary to understand one another's culture?
Oh, we're talking about that essay that you just wrote.
Yeah, that was a sample
Right.
essay. So like obviously you can't take that word for word and like take those examples, right? But that's what your essay should end up looking like. Okay? Remember the formula for a body paragraph. It's your intro of your claim, your evidence, your explanation, and your concluding sentence. Really? Don't. Okay, Tony, go pick it up and go throw it away.
Tony!
Or is that you, Johnny?
What was him?
Okay, Tony, go pick up and go throw it away.
Tony, what the heck?
Alright, are we clear? You know what to do? Alright, so I need to see your thesis statement before you can move on to your draft. Alright? Are you confused, Mary? Did you watch the screencast yesterday? Okay, so what are you lost on?
Just like, so the thesis statement is not, for some reason I used to think that was the first sentence.
No, that's the very last sentence
yeah.
in your intro. The first sentence is your hook.
Right, so how are we supposed to write our thesis statement if we haven't written the rest of it when we started our essay? Because that's like...
Your thesis statement is your essay. Your thesis...
I mean, like, how far...
How are you supposed to write your first body paragraph if you don't know where you're going with it?
No, I get that. I'm just saying, shouldn't I start the thing at the beginning of the first paragraph first before I did what you're doing?
What stage are we in?
Right.
So, you shouldn't start anything until you have your essay laid out. Okay? So think of your graphic organizer. Do you have it out, hon? Or have it in your backpack? Yeah. Hold on to this. I'll come around. Eyeballs, please. I want everybody stopping what you're doing and focusing on this. Okay? So, this. People. Johnny. Push it away. Really? Focus. Okay? So, before today, Charles, you should have submitted your thesis statement. Okay? Now you have an idea of where you're going in your essay. The next thing you should be doing is working on your graphic organizer. Okay? If you look at our writing process after pre-write, or first thing we do is pre-writing. Okay, that's this. You're going to outline your main ideas in your conclusion as well as your intro paragraph. You're not writing the entire thing. You're just jotting down some ideas. Once you have done this, Caleb, then you're going to actually draft your essay. Okay? I'm going to put this on Canvas. This is an outline to help you format an expository essay. Okay, Mary, hold on just for a second. Charles, hold on for a second. Okay? So I've outlined this so you guys can follow the formula. Okay? So your intro paragraph, you're going to write first your attention getter, your hook, your background information, and your thesis statement. Okay? Then you have your main body paragraphs. Number 1, your transition plus the topic sentence and the claim or the first reason of the because of your thesis statement. Okay, so Mary, what was the first reason of your thesis statement?
First, what?
What's the first reason you're going to be discussing that backs up your thesis statement? So it's important to understand culture because why? What was the first reason?
Mine?
Yeah.
Because we want to know how to treat them better.
Okay, so that's going to be my first main body paragraph. Then I'm going to find quotes to prove that to be true. Next, I'm going to explain how that quote proves my main claim for my body paragraph. Then I'm going to conclude it. Now I'm going to go to my second main body paragraph. Okay? Now Mary would have a second part of her thesis statement. That's the because. That goes here. Same process. Okay? Third main reason, process. Lastly, we have the conclusion. Okay? So your first sentence, Elijah, should be a transition, then your topic sentence for your conclusion. Okay? So in summary, in conclusion, with all of this said, taking all the evidence into account, blah, blah, blah. The review of your main claims in your thesis statement. So you should go back over some of the main points you discussed or you argued in your essay. Okay? So in these 3 poems, it clearly shows how blah, 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 blah. Lastly, this is the most important part of your essay, okay? The call to action. What is the dang point that you wrote this essay? How does it connect to the real world? Why did you just write this, besides Miss N telling you you had to? Okay? Think about it, though. Why is it important? Like, why did you just spend hours and hours writing this essay? Connect it back, okay? Is there something bigger about culture you want to discuss, Tony?
Oh, I was just going to say that you know how to do it, but then you said about culture.
What?
I thought you were just going in the direction of we just need to know how to do the essay. Like how to do that kind of essay.
Do you not think that we're not writing an essay?
No,
Glasses are missing.
I can't.
They're upside down.
I'm confused. Tony, so you are writing an essay. I don't know if that's clear.
yes.
Okay, once you've done your thesis statement and graphic organizer, then you move on to this.
What I'm s-
I want everyone to write your essay in this exact, make a copy and in this format, okay? Then, at least after the first time we write an expository essay, then we can go into a free-for-all, into your own document. Yes, Elijah.
What does this do?
The first draft of this is due Tuesday.
Are we gonna do curated?
On Tuesday, yes. Okay. So, shh. Hold on. Okay. So tomorrow we're going over transition words and how to integrate quotes. All right, and then your draft is due Tuesday. So you can start drafting today and tomorrow. You'll have all weekend, and then Monday we'll draft again in class. Tuesday due in class.
So tomorrow is interesting.
Okay.
Sweet.
Right now, if you finish, you should, like some people are drafting right now, I'm going to put this on Canvas. Okay, you should use it. This is going to help you figure out the formula. If you stick with the formula, you can't go wrong. Okay? If you use this, you cannot, oh my gosh, where is it? Where'd it go? If you use this, you can't skip your thesis statement. If you use this, you can't skip your evidence. It's forcing you to use it. Okay? So I'm going to put this on Canvas. Please use this to write your essay. Okay? It's going to help you. What, Caleb?
I said definitely will use.
Okay. Does this, honestly, I want to know, just because I'm trying to help you guys as much as possible. Does doing this seem like it's going to help you be able to format this better? Yes or no? Okay, so I'm doing something right? Okay.
So we're supposed to work off of that?
I would, yes.
Create our own document?
Yes.
Another graph board.
Yeah, on the, right there, Levi.
If you would thumbs up, but I almost fell on my butt. So
That's
that was great. That was delightful.
Hold on.
That was perfect.
Where are they?
Hold on, did you not find it?
Hey, that's mine.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, here, hold.
Hey.
Oh, right here, see? Do you want... We're gonna do that anyways. What's up, babe?